Minister of Public Enterprises. My co-anchor, Naledi Moleo, is following that story for us in Durban. Naledi, a bit earlier on, we saw the remains going into the house. Do we know what happens next?
Well, at this point, Aldrin, yes, still some ritual and some ceremony taking place inside of the home. And what we are expecting is we're going to be, in moments from now, in conversation with Professor Yousuf Vawda, who is, of course, a family friend who is going to be able to really describe some of the rituals that would be taking place at this time. But we did, yes, you're correct to say that we did indeed see the body of Pravin Gordhan arrive here. This is in Reservoir Hills, a very significant area because this is really the family home where his body will be leaving, where a greater part of the Gordhan and extended family are coming to pay their last respects. We're starting to see also some friends also making their arrival for those few private moments of this more private part of the funeral of Pravin Gordhan before that official Category 2 funeral takes place at the Durban ICC. But one would argue that this is one of the more humble funerals we've seen in quite a while where officials are concerned, right? Not a big security detail, but some nonetheless. And then, of course, I imagine that the procession that makes its way to the Durban ICC going to be quite full then with the SAPS considering that it is a special Category 2 funeral. But this is the community where a young Pravin Gordhan would have really started his student activism, then coming up the ranks of all the way into the Natal Indian Congress until he was part of the UDF, and then quite an important member of the African National Congress from 1994 onwards. We are starting to expect that we will be seeing some ANC members. We did hear that Nomvula Mokonyane would be here. One of the key questions, though, this morning, Aldrin, is who is not going to be part of this funeral. There is an expectation that there may be some in the ANC that perhaps may not be too keen in participating in the farewell of Pravin Gordhan. But 75 years old, after a short battle with cancer, he did lose his life, and inside here we know that it is really quite the beginnings of Pravin Gordhan. And in moments, once we are able to speak to Aldrin, to speak to Professor Yousuf Vawda, a family friend, he also will be able to give us a little bit of education as to really the ceremonies that would be taking place inside of the home. Just moments ago, before the body arrived and came into the home, we did see a small prayer, a small Hindi prayer being taking place outside of the home. And of course, a lot of questions around what these rituals would look like. And we'll get some of that information in a few moments. Once the body leaves here as well, we'll bring you those visuals to you, because from here it will head to the Durban ICC. From there, Pravin Gordhan's body will then be cremated in a very private ceremony. But we keep you updated throughout the morning here on Channel 405.
Yeah, actually, we're showing visuals now, Naledi, of the ICC, where the funeral service will be taking place a bit later on today, as you have indicated. Currently, there is a bomb sweep that is underway, considering that the high-ranking officials that are expected to be attending this funeral service that will be taking place at the ICC. Do we know as yet, Naledi, who will be delivering the eulogy?
At this point, we await the program. I know that Vuyon Voko is at the ICC and able to share with us that program and what it looks like. But it is a very tight-run ship, as information slowly but surely does come out. And as we're able to ascertain all of that information, particularly around what the program is looking like, we will be sharing that. And as you can imagine, I mean, it's quite a difficult task because of how busy of a week it really has been for the family and also for some of the comrades that belong to to the ANC, that belong to the former Minister Pravin Gordhan. But let's get now some word from Professor Yousuf Vawda, who is a family friend. Prof, good morning to you. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and condolences to you. Talk to us about what's top of mind for you this morning.
Well, look, we're just battling to come to grips with this huge loss. It's a huge loss for South Africans as a whole, but personally, as close friends and comrades for many years, it's really devastating. Yeah, so we're just coming to grips with that and hoping that there'll be some peace coming out of all of this.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of questions around, what a busy program it is, how exhausting this must be for the family. I mean, what you're hearing from a family about how they're coping with all of this activity. I mean, it's the public glare as well, as they mourn a very close family member.
Well, Pravin was a very public person, but his family was not, and I think it's been difficult and taxing for them and stressful. But I think they're coping, and they will get through it.
The African National Congress, having had 2 memorial services yesterday in Durban, the day before in Johannesburg. I mean, what's the reception been from the family as they see some of those memorial services taking place, considering what one may call a tumultuous relationship with the body over the past few years?
Well, I think at the moment the family is just comforted by the fact that there's such a great outpouring of support for Pravin and what he stood for. Yes, there's also that there's I think many of us feel, speaking personally for myself, that Pravin wasn't given enough support by his organization when he virtually single-handedly took on sort of state capture. And I think that does, cut quite sort of hard. But, we're all big people, and we'll sort of work through that.
The rituals that we'll see taking place this morning, I mean, we were told as well that the family will be busy with rituals in the morning before the body is able to leave and make its way to the Durban ICC. An opportunity for us also to understand what those rituals would look like.
Well, yeah, I think the rituals are very basic and simple. I don't think there's a lot of religious ritual that's involved, but it's about viewing the body, being able to comfort the family, and helping them get through this. Yeah.
Are we expecting that comrades will make their way this side? And if so, what's that been like for the family, seeing the comrades come in, wanting to view the body and lay their, I suppose, to share their tributes with the family? Difficult, comforting?
Yes, most comforting. I know difficult, of course, but incredibly comforting. There have been, comrades coming from all over different parts of the country. Many of them have been here for a couple of days. And even before, the family arrived here, there were, lots of support in Johannesburg, where, Pravin passed away. So it's been very comforting and reassuring, and I think they're strengthened by that.
Yeah. Talk to us about the significance of the cremation, right? And also, the importance that be a private, sacred moment.
Yes, it is a very intimate, part of going away, as I guess is burial as well. And what usually happens is that at the crematorium, usually there's a few words that are said, and perhaps a prayer or two, rendered. And then there's a inner sanctum in a crematorium where the actual cremation takes place, and it's just basically the very close family who are usually allowed to be there. And of course, as you can imagine, it is a very emotional time for them as well.
I'm going to just give you one last question. I know that you want to be inside with the family, but at this time, as the country sees the body of the former minister, former SARS commissioner, leaving his family home, making its way to that Durban ICC, what do you want the country to be reflecting on today?
Well, lots of things. Pravin was amazing in many respects. He provided leadership. He showed courage and bravery at the most difficult of times. He was great in pressure situations, and there's a reason why for the present president and former presidents actually called him to cabinet, because he was somebody who was able to get things done. And I think that was the important thing about him. He didn't seek fame and position and so on, but his capabilities just forced him into the position where he was asked to do these various roles. And I think he did that to the best of his ability, and we're really proud of his contribution to this country.
Professor Yousuf Vawda, thank you so much for your time. And again, condolences on your loss. We really do appreciate your time. Aldrin, I'm going to wrap it up there. And of course, we'll bring you back to this area here in Reservoir Hills, where the family is continuing to say their last goodbyes to the body of Pravin Gordhan that will be cremated this afternoon in a very private ceremony. Of course, as you can see, the gate staying tightly closed. They're only those very close to the family allowed to go inside, and security ensuring that no one is able to slip through. But as soon as this procession leaves as well, we'll show you the body as it is brought back into the vehicle, and then as it is transported to the Durban ICC. We here at Newzroom 405 will be following it closely and keeping you updated as the country says its final goodbyes to Pravin Gordhan.
Yeah, and a bit later on, Naledi will be joined by Mvoka as well, who is part of the team for Channel 405 covering the funeral service of Pravin Gordhan. Those are live visuals coming out of the Chief Albert Luthuli ICC in Durban, and the funeral service will be taking place there. I understand that the bomb sweep is still underway.